We were talking for a minute. He was trying to make me get in the car with him. And I'm like, no. He then said, okay. And he pulled up and he pulled back and started shooting.
I never see another birthday. It's over with, Joe. If you fucking love me, nigga, say that shit now, because this gonna be the last time they never say it. If you love me, nigga, you really love me, nigga, call my phone, because this gonna be the last time you gonna be able to say it, Joe. I just fucked up. It ain't nothing I can do about it. I just fucked up, bro.
What started as typical relationship disagreements quickly evolved into something far more dangerous.
I just threw everything away. Ain't no coming back from this shit, bro. Ain't no coming back from this shit, bro. Ain't no point in me going again. No. If any motherfucker got a problem with me, let that shit be known right now. Any motherfucker got a problem with me, let it be known. All this secret ass, fake ass blood on you. Any motherfucker, bro. Any motherfucker.
In the way. Because, in my mind, I thought
Larry's need to control every aspect of Lasonya's life became the foundation of their relationship dynamic.
On my soul, bro. Joe. Like, I'm hurt like a motherfucker, G. Joe, because I can't even believe I just did, and I don't even know what just pushed me to snap like that, Joe. I don't even know what just pushed me to snap like that, G. That shit, I just lost it. I just fucking lost it, bro.
Even in the aftermath of attempted murder, Larry's first instinct wasn't to help his victims or face consequences for his actions. It was to control the narrative, to present himself as sympathetic, to make himself the center of attention. Narrative. To present himself as sympathetic, to make himself the center of attention. The tears he shed on camera weren't for Lasonya, bleeding from 11 gunshot wounds. They weren't for the grandmother or uncle he had shot. They weren't for his traumatized child. They were for himself, for the consequences he was about to face, for the life he had just destroyed through his own choices.
I'm not running from these people no more, bro. They come get me, bro. They come get me. That's all I'm gonna say is they come get me, Joe. My soul, and they better come ready to kill.
Stay tuned as we reveal everything about this case. Drop a comment and let me know what you think about this story. Welcome to our channel. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Like and share this video to help raise awareness and spread caution. Let's begin.
You attend the chilling story of what's happened to another Chicago mother. She was shot 11 times in a cold-blooded shooting. She is thankful to be alive and tonight demands some answers.
February 21st, 2023. The simmering violence that had been building in Larry's mind finally reached its boiling point, and the result will be carnage that shocked even experienced law enforcement officers. The attack wasn't random or impulsive, despite what Larry might have claimed later.
It happened as Lasonya was getting out of a car.
We were talking for a minute. He was trying to make me get in the car with him. And I'm like, no. He then said, okay. And he pulled up and he pulled back and started shooting.
Lasonya's grandmother, her uncle, also shot and recovering. Her 3-year-old son who was with her was not injured.
He was trying to help me. He said, come on, mama, come on.
Domestic violence of this magnitude doesn't just happen. It builds over time, fed by obsession, entitlement, and a complete disregard for human life. Larry had been escalating for months, violating court orders, intimidating family members, and making it clear that he would not accept Lasonya's independence. When he arrived at the location where Lasonya was with her grandmother and uncle, he came prepared for maximum damage. This wasn't about having a conversation or making a point. This was about punishment. In Larry's twisted mind, Lasonya had committed the ultimate crime by trying to live her own life, and he intended to make sure she never got that chance again. The presence of Lasonya's young son, Larry's own child, should have been enough to stop any rational person. Children change everything. The knowledge that your own child is watching should be enough to prevent anyone from committing acts of violence. But abusers like Larry don't think like rational people. Their need for control overrides everything else, including the welfare of their own children. The grandmother, an elderly woman who posed no threat to anyone, received multiple gunshot wounds. Her crime was being related to Lasonya, being someone who cared about her welfare. In Larry's world, that was enough to warrant attempted murder. The uncle, who had likely tried to protect his family, was also shot multiple times. His presence at the scene wasn't coincidental. He was probably there specifically because the family knew Larry was dangerous and didn't want Lasonya to be alone. But the most chilling part of this story comes next. After shooting 3 people multiple times, after traumatizing his own child, after committing acts that should have filled him with horror and remorse, Larry made a decision that reveals everything you need to know about his character. He went live on Facebook, not to turn himself in, not to call for help for his victims, not to express genuine remorse or take responsibility for his actions. Instead, he performed for his social media audience, crying, showing what appeared to be distress, but distress about his own situation, not about the lives he just tried to end. This Facebook Live session represents everything that's wrong with our current culture of social media performance and narcissism. Even in the aftermath of attempted murder, Larry's first instinct wasn't to help his victims or face consequences for his actions. It was to control the narrative, to present himself as sympathetic, to make himself the center of attention.
On my soul, bro. On my soul, yo. Like, I'm hurt. I'm hurt like a motherfucker, G. I'm hurt like a motherfucker, yo, because I can't even believe I just did, and I don't even know what just pushed me to snap like that, yo. I don't even know what just pushed me to snap like that, G. That shit, I just lost it. I just fucking lost it, bro.
The tears he shed on camera weren't for Lasonya, bleeding from 11 gunshot wounds. They weren't for the grandmother or uncle he had shot. They weren't for his traumatized child. They were for himself, for the consequences he was about to face, for the life he had just destroyed through his own choices. This performance reveals the depth of Larry's narcissism and manipulation. Even faced with the reality of what he had done, he couldn't accept responsibility. Instead, he tried to generate sympathy for himself, to position himself as someone deserving of understanding rather than justice. When medical professionals talk about gunshot wound survival rates, 11 hits from close range represent odds that no one should have to face. The human body can only absorb so much trauma before systems begin shutting down. Blood loss, organ damage, shock. Any one of these factors could be fatal. And Lasonya was dealing with all of them simultaneously. But she survived. Not just survived. She lived to tell her story, to become an advocate, to turn her trauma into a tool for helping others. Her survival defies medical explanation and stands as testament to the incredible strength of the human spirit when faced with unthinkable circumstances. The grandmother, despite her age and the vulnerability that comes with elderly status, also survived multiple gunshot wounds. Her recovery represents another miracle in a story filled with them. 3 people, multiple gunshot wounds each, all surviving what should have been a massacre. Their collective survival suggests something beyond luck or medical intervention. It suggests a kind of will to live that transcends normal human limitations. But survival was just the beginning of their journey. Physical wounds heal, given time and proper medical care. The psychological wounds from this kind of trauma run much deeper and take much longer to address. For Lasonya, waking up in a hospital bed marked the end of one nightmare and the beginning of another kind of fight. The physical pain from 11 bullet wounds was manageable compared to the emotional weight of what she had endured. The knowledge that the father of her child had tried to kill her, had shot her family members, had traumatized their son. These realities created wounds that no surgery could repair. Recovery from this level of trauma isn't linear. There are good days and bad days, moments of strength and moments of overwhelming fear. The physical scars serve as daily reminders of what happened, but the emotional scars go much deeper. The impact on a child cannot be understated. Witnessing domestic violence creates lasting psychological damage, but witnessing attempted murder, especially when perpetrated by one parent against the other, creates trauma that will require years of professional intervention to address. That little boy lost his sense of safety and security in one devastating moment. His understanding of family, of love, of protection was shattered by his father's actions. The man who should have been his protector became the source of his greatest trauma. Recovery for the entire family required not just medical intervention, but comprehensive support services. Trauma therapy, victim advocacy, legal assistance, financial support.
On the way. Because, in my mind, I thought
he was going to come back.
Coming back and shoot, start shooting again. And I told my husband, let's move away the baby from there. I can imagine your grandson. Oh, honestly, I'm like...
Because once I came in the house, I came in the house to call 911 because I didn't know if anybody had called. You know what I'm saying?
I did.
And when my dad opened the door for her, the baby came in and he was just sitting on the couch and he was holding his head, shaking his head. And I'm like, what's wrong with him? You know what I'm saying? And that's when I came around the corner, and my sister was yelling and screaming, saying that he had shot, Larry shot us, Larry shot us. And that's when I looked out and seen my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Seen my daughter laying there, and then seen my brother laying in the street.
You see, I believe he passed through here.
Yeah, come here.
That's when the big
My
guy
son,
comes
yeah,
out.
my son.
And I come behind him because of this. When I'm telling you, he tried to get you the sister.
The aftermath of domestic violence creates needs that extend far beyond emergency medical care. But perhaps most importantly, Lasonya made a decision during her recovery that would transform her from victim to advocate. She decided to share her story publicly, to use her experience to help other women recognize the warning signs of escalating domestic violence. This decision wasn't made lightly. Going public with domestic violence stories requires incredible courage. It means reliving the trauma repeatedly, facing questions and sometimes skepticism from strangers, and opening yourself up to judgment and criticism. But Lasonya understood something crucial. Her survival had purpose beyond just her own life. She had been given a platform, an opportunity to reach women who might be living in similar situations of escalating danger. Her message became clear and consistent. Leaving abusive relationships is difficult, but staying can be fatal. The challenges that keep women trapped, financial dependence, fear of retaliation, concern for children, isolation from support systems, are real and valid, but they're not insurmountable. The power of survivor advocacy cannot be overstated. When women hear from someone who has lived through similar experiences, who understands the complexity of abusive relationships from the inside, it carries weight that professional advice sometimes cannot match. Lasonya's willingness to be vulnerable, to share the darkest moment of her life in service of helping others, transformed her survival into something larger than personal victory. It became a beacon of hope for women trapped in dangerous situations, proof that escape is possible and that life after abuse can have meaning and purpose. The manhunt for Larry Sistrunk began immediately after the shooting. But like many domestic violence perpetrators who commit extreme acts of violence, he had no plan for what came next. The Facebook Live performance might have been his attempt at controlling the narrative, but also provided law enforcement with real-time evidence of his state of mind and potential location. The arrest itself was reportedly without incident, which is somewhat unusual for someone who had just committed multiple attempted murders. By the time law enforcement caught up with him, whatever rage or desperation had driven him to violence seemed to have burned out, leaving behind someone who understood that his life as he knew it was over. The charges against Larry were severe and appropriate for the magnitude of his crimes: attempted murder and aggravated battery. In Illinois, these charges carry significant prison time, especially when applied to multiple victims and when committed in the presence of a child. Attempted murder charges require prosecutors to prove that the defendant specifically intended to kill the victims. With 11 gunshot wounds to Lasonya alone, plus multiple wounds to her grandmother and uncle, proving intent was not going to be difficult. You don't shoot someone 11 times by accident or in the heat of passion. That level of violence requires sustained intent to kill. The aggravated battery charges address the enhanced severity of the violence. Simple battery becomes aggravated when weapons are involved, when victims are elderly, as in the case of the grandmother, or when the violence occurs in the presence of children. All of these factors applied to Larry's case. Lasonya Agee's story extends far beyond one woman's survival of unthinkable violence. Her experience illuminates the complex dynamics of domestic abuse, the challenges victims face in seeking help, and the incredible resilience of the human spirit when confronted with life-threatening danger. But recognizing warning signs is only useful if victims have realistic options for escape and protection. Lasonya tried multiple approaches to gain independence and safety. She got her own apartment, bought cars to ensure mobility, sought legal protection through restraining orders. Each of these efforts was systematically undermined by Larry's determination to maintain control. Lasonya's decision to become a public advocate after her survival represents a transformation that many trauma survivors experience. The search for meaning in suffering often leads victims to use their experiences to help others. This transformation doesn't minimize the trauma or suggest that positive outcomes justify the violence. Rather, it demonstrates a human capacity to create purpose from pain. The story of Lasonya Agee refuses to let us look away from the harsh realities of domestic violence, but also refuses to let us despair. Her survival of 11 gunshot wounds stands as testimony to the incredible resilience of the human spirit. Her transformation from victim to advocate demonstrates the power of purpose born from pain. This story matters because somewhere right now, a woman is facing the same impossible choices Lasonya faced. Someone is weighing the risks of leaving against the risks of staying. Someone is wondering if escape is possible, if life can be different, if survival is worth fighting for. Lasonya's answer is clear. It is worth fighting for, not just survival, but the chance to rebuild, to heal, to help others, to transform trauma into triumph. Her voice joins a chorus of survivors who refuse to let their experiences be defined solely by the violence inflicted upon them. The numbers are staggering. 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence in their lifetimes. But behind every statistic is a human being with the potential for survival, recovery, and transformation. Behind every case of domestic violence is a community with the power to respond, support, and prevent future violence. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, help is available. The National Domestic Violence Hotline 1-800-799-7233 provides 24/7 confidential support. Local resources exist in every community, though they may be difficult to access safely. Safety planning with trained advocates can help identify options and reduce risks. But this story also calls for something more than individual action. It calls for community commitment to changing the attitudes and systems that allow domestic violence to flourish. It calls for supporting survivors, holding perpetrators accountable, and creating cultures where controlling and violent behavior is never acceptable. Lasonya Agee survived 11 bullets to tell her story. The least we can do is listen, learn, and act on the lessons she offers. Her survival has meaning beyond her individual experience. It has the power to save lives, change perspectives, and inspire action. The fight against domestic violence requires all of us. Survivors like Lasonya provide the courage and leadership, but they can't do it alone. Every person who refuses to tolerate abusive behavior, every community that prioritizes victim safety, every individual who supports survivors, they all become part of the solution. Lasonya Agee's story doesn't end with bullets and blood. It ends with hope, healing, and the unwavering belief that no one deserves to live in fear. Her survival reminds us that even in our darkest moments, the possibility for transformation exists. That transformation starts with stories like hers, but it continues with actions like yours. The question isn't whether domestic violence will continue to exist. Sadly, it will. The question is what role you'll play in supporting survivors and preventing future victims.